Yankee fans, what we're watching right now with Aaron Judge feels like one of those seasons that will be talked about for years. It's not just a good year, it's one of those years that makes you stop, shake your head, and ask yourself if this is even real. Judge is sitting there with a batting average well above 320, and to do that in a modern game, where pitchers are throwing harder than ever, where defenses are shifted and data-driven, where strikeouts are more common than singles, that alone is impressive. But we're not just talking about him slapping singles the other way to boost that average. We're talking about him hitting the ball out of the park over 50 times already this season, driving in over 100 runs, and posting an OPS that clears 1.1. That combination of pure power, elite discipline, and consistent contact is something that even some of the game's legends never put together all in one season. And then you look at his on-base percentage. 455. Let that sink in. That means nearly half the time Aaron Judge comes to the plate, he's reaching base. Nobody else in Major League Baseball is even sniffing that level this year. Shohei Ohtani is sitting below 400. Juan Soto, who is famous for drawing walks, is still below that mark as well. Judge is living on a completely different level in his own stratosphere. People like to round up Soto's numbers or Ohtani's numbers and make it look close, but it's not close. Judge is lapping the field in this category. He's the only hitter in baseball who has crossed that 400 threshold, and not barely. He's blowing past it with a number that most hitters couldn't dream of. Now here's where the debate gets messy. A lot of voices are trying to push the idea that Cal Raleigh deserves the MVP over Aaron Judge. And listen, I'll be the first one to say Raleigh has been unbelievable. 60 home runs from a catcher is something straight out of video game. To be a switch hitter, to be able to hit from both sides of the plate and still generate that kind of power, is an accomplishment that deserves every ounce of respect. If this were almost any other season, you could probably hand him the MVP without much argument. But unfortunately for him, this is the season Aaron Judge is putting together. Let's line it up. Raleigh has 60 bombs, yes, and 125 runs batted in. Judge has fewer home runs, 51, and just over 100 runs batted in. At first glance, that looks like Raleigh has a case. But then you look deeper. Raleigh's batting average is hovering around 248. Judge is up at 328. Raleigh's on-base percentage is 361. Judge's is 455. Raleigh's OPS is in the 900s, which is phenomenal in any other season, but Judge is over 1.1. And that slugging percentage? Judge is slugging almost 700. Raleigh, as good as he's been, isn't even close in that department. And here's the kicker. Judge has been intentionally walked 34 times this season. 34. That's the most intentional walks we've seen since Albert Pujols back in 2010. Pitchers are literally refusing to give him anything to hit, and yet he's still managed to hit over 50 home runs. Do you realize how insane that is? Think about it. If he wasn't being pitched around at this historic rate, if he was getting the same number of pitches to hit that Raleigh was, there's no telling where his home run total would be. You could easily make the case he'd already be sitting at 60 himself. And it's not just this season in isolation. Judge is now joining Babe Ruth as the only Yankees in franchise history to have 4 seasons with at least 50 home runs. That's right, the only other name on that list is the Babe. That alone tells you the kind of rarefied air he's breathing right now. Yet despite all of this, there are still debates out there about whether he deserves the MVP. People are trying to twist themselves into knots to give the award to someone else, and the only real reason that makes sense is voter fatigue. They're tired of giving it to Judge, so they want to hand it to someone new, even if the numbers don't back it up. Think back to the late 1990s. Sammy Sosa hit 63 home runs in one season and didn't win the MVP. The year before, he hit 66 and did take home the award, but Mark McGwire hit 70 that same season and still didn't get it. So we've seen this story before. Sometimes, just chasing history with home runs isn't enough when another player is dominating every other category. And right now, Judge is not only hitting homers, but he's also winning the batting title race, drawing more walks than almost anyone in the game, and posting offensive numbers that are off the charts. If we're being honest, the conversation shouldn't even be close. Raleigh is having a once-in-a-lifetime season for a catcher, and it deserves praise, but Judge is on another level entirely. It's not just about the long ball. It's about the complete package. Batting average, on-base, slugging, OPS, everything. You name a stat, Judge is leading it or sitting at the very top. And we can't overlook the context of those 34 intentional walks. Even with pitchers doing everything they can to avoid him, Judge is still producing like this. Cut those intentional walks in half, and not only does he still lead Raleigh, but his counting stats would probably be even more ridiculous than they already are. This isn't just about numbers either. Watch the games. Every time Judge steps up to the plate, you feel that electricity. You feel the pitcher's anxiety. The fans lean forward. Opposing managers are making decisions based on him alone. He changes the entire dynamic of the game, and that's exactly what the Most Valuable Player award is supposed to reflect. Without him in that Yankees lineup, where would this team even be? And here's the bottom line. People can argue about Raleigh's power totals all they want, but nobody else in baseball is doing what Aaron Judge is doing across the board. He's combining elite power with elite patience and elite contact, something we rarely see rolled into one player. That's why, in my eyes, there shouldn't even be a debate. The more you look at it, the crazier this debate feels. Think about it. If Aaron Judge were hitting .280 with 50 home runs, I could understand people leaning toward Cal Raleigh. That would make sense. A catcher with 60 bombs and 125 runs batted in is an extraordinary thing to witness. And in most seasons, it would be more than enough. But we are not living in a season where Judge is batting .280. He's well over .320, sitting at the top of the league in batting average, leading the league in OPS, and pairing that with power numbers that still rank among the very best. You cannot ignore the fact that he's doing everything at once. Take a step back and look at the entire league right now. How many hitters are even hitting over 300? Just a handful. Jacob Wilson is around 315. Bo Bichette is over 310. Tree Turner just above 300. Jeremy Pena, George Springer, Yandy Diaz, Nico Horner, and that's about it. Only 8 players across Major League Baseball are living above that 300 mark. And out of those 8, only one of them has 50 home runs. Only one of them is carrying the league in OPS. That's Aaron Judge. That's the guy we're talking about. He's not only doing something rare, he's doing something that literally no one else is doing. Now, people will argue that Raleigh's 60 home runs deserve automatic recognition. And sure, 60 is a magic number in baseball. We've been conditioned to see it as this mythical threshold. It's the kind of number that brings up images of Sosa, McGuire, Maris, and Bonds. It makes headlines and it grabs attention. But 60 on its own does not always mean MVP. We've seen this before. We've seen players crush 60 or 70 home runs and still not walk away with the award because another player was simply better all around. That's what's happening right now. Judge isn't just hitting home runs. He's doing literally everything else better than almost anyone in baseball. And let's circle back to the intentional walks because they tell you everything you need to know about how feared he is. 34 intentional walks is absurd in today's game. Pitchers don't hand out free passes like that anymore unless they feel like they have no choice. It's a sign of pure respect and pure fear. Compare that with Raleigh, who has been intentionally walked only 16 times. That's less than half of Judge's total. The league is telling you with its actions who they see as the most dangerous hitter in baseball. It's Judge, without question. Even with that, Judge still finds a way to hit 51 home runs. If you shave those intentional walks in half, you're giving him more opportunities, and realistically, that could have added another 10 home runs to his season total. Imagine Judge sitting at 60 right now with everything else he's already doing. Would this even be a conversation anymore? Probably not. This is why it feels so strange to see arguments pop up against Judge. It's almost as if some voters don't want to reward him again. It feels like fatigue, plain and simple. They've seen him dominate before, and now they want something fresh, something new, even if the numbers don't line up. But that's not what the MVP is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about who is truly the most valuable player in that season. And if we're being fair, if we're being honest with ourselves, Aaron Judge is the answer. Think about the history he's making in pinstripes alone. Only Babe Ruth had 4 seasons with 50 or more home runs as a Yankee. Now, Judge has joined him in that exclusive club. We're talking about over a century of baseball history, with legends from Ruth to Mantle to DiMaggio to Reggie Jackson, and none of them reached that mark. Only Ruth and Judge. That's it. That's the list. And yet, there's still hesitation about giving him the MVP. That feels almost disrespectful to what we're witnessing right now. And you know what really seals it for me? It's the fact that Judge is doing this while carrying the weight of being the face of the Yankees. The expectations, the media pressure, the spotlight, it's bigger in New York than anywhere else in the sport. Every at-bat feels like it matters not only for the Yankees, but for the story of Major League Baseball itself. Judge steps up and the cameras are flashing, the crowd is buzzing, and pitchers are strategizing in ways they don't strategize against anyone else. That's value. That's presence. That's the definition of what the award is supposed to represent. Now, here's the million-dollar question. If Judge doesn't win it, what does that say about the way we're voting? Are we rewarding narrative over numbers? Are we rewarding freshness over dominance? Because if the league decides that 60 home runs from a catcher outweigh everything Judge is doing, then it's no longer about who is truly the best. It's about who makes the voters feel a certain way in that moment. And that's dangerous for the credibility of the award. So when people bring up Cal Raleigh and try to elevate his candidacy, I get it, I respect the season, but I can't agree. Not when the evidence is this overwhelming. Judge is the guy. He's been the guy all season. And if you strip away the fatigue, if you strip away the desire to create a different story, there's only one name that belongs on that MVP trophy this year. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. In what could be described as the most sensational shakeup in Major League Baseball this decade, whispers from inside the league suggest that the New York Yankees are on the verge of securing Shohei Ohtani in a blockbuster trade with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Sources close to the negotiations hint that the deal, still unofficial, could reshape the balance of power in the American League and send shockwaves throughout the baseball world. The speculation started gaining momentum late last night when insiders hinted at major movement within the Yankees' front office. According to murmurs circulating among agents and front office personnel, the Yankees have been aggressively pursuing Ohtani, the two-way phenom whose ability to dominate both at the plate and on the mound has made him the sport's most electrifying talent. While details remain scarce, the trade is rumored to involve a significant package of top prospects and established stars, enough to make any baseball executive's jaw drop. Fans across the country are already buzzing at the mere thought of Ohtani donning the pinstripes. Imagine a lineup featuring Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, combined with the Yankees' already formidable pitching rotation. The offensive firepower alone could rewrite the record books, while Ohtani's pitching might provide the rotation with an ace capable of taking the team deep into October. Analysts speculate that this move could not only give the Yankees an immediate championship window, but also redefine the franchise's identity in a modern era. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Dodgers fans are reportedly bracing for a painful farewell. Ohtani has become a cornerstone of the Dodgers strategy, and losing him would mark the end of an era. Yet, insiders suggest that the Dodgers see this as a calculated risk, using Ohtani's trade value to acquire multiple rising stars and strengthen the team for years to come. Baseball insiders are calling this the trade that could shake the foundations of MLB, with both teams potentially coming out as winners in different ways. As the rumor mill heats up, social media has exploded with speculation, memes, and heated debates. Could this be the start of a new Yankees dynasty? Will Ohtani's impact be enough to finally bring the World Series trophy back to the Bronx? For now, all we have are tantalizing hints, fleeting whispers, and the promise of a deal that could be remembered for generations. One thing is certain. If this trade goes through, baseball as we know it might never be the same. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.